Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm here for the second of two shows that won the poll. I'm not going to go super in-depth on the spiel. You can check out the beginning of the Girls in Panzer video in order to figure that out, but suffice it to say that we ran a poll to replace Symphogear with not necessarily a Symphogear-esque show, although there were a couple on the poll, and two shows came out the end with the exact same number of votes. 120 votes for Girls in Panzer, and 120 votes for Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight. So I decided to watch them both, or at least watch the first episodes of both of them. And, if I hated one, then I would drop it. If I didn't hate one, then I would move one of the others, I would move one of them to the Thursday slot and keep one of them on the Friday slot, and we'd be good to go. Just watched Girls in Panzer episode 1. It was pretty good, so I don't think I'm dropping it. Kind of have to doubt that I'm going to drop Revue Starlight, but we'll see. So it seems pretty likely that we'll end up with Girls in Panzer on Thursdays and Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight on Fridays, and hey, everybody should be relatively happy about that, except for the people who wanted Natsume Yujincho to win. Sorry, Obzi. I'm just gonna keep doing that every time we have a new poll win. But, we have another show to watch. Or at least another episode of a show to watch. So, what the hell is Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight? I don't know, and I have a feeling that I'm probably going to come out the other end not really knowing either. I've heard things about Revue Starlight. I've heard various things. A lot of people love it. A lot of people don't love it so much. It seems to be a bit of a divisive show, and that's interesting. We'll see why. I hope we can pick that apart and see what people see in it or don't. But I have heard things about Revue Starlight. One of the most common things that I've heard is the director is the new Ikuhara. We're talking about Tomohiro Furukawa here. He is a long time key animator. Did some key animation on Symphogear Season 1. Also did a lot of key animation on a number of Ikuhara shows, and seems to have worked with him quite a bit. People have definitely come to the conclusion, let's say, that his work in the future will be and has been influenced by Ikuhara's ideas. Now, what does that mean when we say that a show is like the stuff that Ikuhara does? Oh, that's a can of worms, man. That's a big bite of something. I don't know. I think it comes down to the sliding scale. If we want to put it on like a sliding scale on a binary between style and substance. Some shows are like all style, not much substance to them. I think a lot of shonen end up in that category where it's about flashy combat and crazy stuff. And there are some shows that are visually very interesting but don't have a lot of depth to them. And then on the other side of the scale, there are those shows that have a lot of substance, maybe a lot of intricate plot and writing, but don't maybe convey that through their visuals a lot. Ikuhara shows hit a weird balance between style and substance that's kind of different because it's self-supporting, self-sustaining, and cyclic. The style informs the substance, which informs the style. It's more style through substance or substance through style. You get information from visual and audio and other forms of symbolism, and the way it's all folded together gives you a metatextual sense of what the intent is that may be very divorced from the actual on-screen happenings. That's interesting. For something to be called Ikuhara-esque is interesting to me, because I like Ikuhara shows. They're weird, and I won't purport to understanding them completely, but I think that's part of what makes his shows so interesting. They're maybe intentionally obtuse, maybe intentionally vague, maybe intentionally nebulous, and I think we talked about this quite a bit during Penguin Drum, but something about that direction style, that style of conveying a story and narrative and the emotions that get wrapped up within it, forces the reader or the viewer to genuinely engage with the work if they want to come away with anything of interest. You can watch an Ikuhara show and perhaps enjoy it on a surface level, like you could watch Utena like a shonen if you wanted to and just be like, yeah, Utena, let's go win the fight. But that's not really how it functions, and that's not really what it's meant to do. because there are a lot of layers to what actually occurs in the individual, more flashy encounters in Utena. There's substance to that style, and you have to engage with it on a more personal level to really come away with anything. I think Penguin Drum of the Ikuhara shows that I've seen is the most hardcore about this, I would say, in forcing the audience to engage. And a part of that comes down to the message of Penguin Drum that's woven through it, which is that people need contact with other people, and it needs to be genuine. That the only way to buck off cruel fate is to make real connections, and the story in the show itself invites, or perhaps forces, the audience into forming a real connection with the characters in the show and with the show itself. It's an interesting style, but we're talking a lot about Ikuhara here and not so much about Tomohiro Furukawa because, well, he's never directed anything before Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight. He's animated a whole lot of things, worked on a whole variety of different types of shows, worked with a lot of different types of directors, Ikuhara among them, and eventually decided to make a show of his own, and got it done. Okay. So we don't know much about Furukawa except the rumors that I've heard that perhaps he is somewhat Ikuhara-esque. What do we know about Revue Starlight just looking at it as a thing? Well, there are some cool costumes and stuff, and the name itself gives away a lot of the game, because the idea of a review or a performance troupe tells us that this is performance related. We already know that it's school and music related, but now we know it's performance related. And this cues us in, or clues us in, to some of the Ikuhara-isms here. One of Ikuhara's favorite things is to convey the information occurring on screen as though it is happening in a meta-textual stage. He loves the theater. And the idea that we've got a cast of characters that are intimately involved in and invested in the theater, and perhaps trying to make something occur on the theater and tell some story of their own, means that we've immediately off the bat got that meta layer going. There is going to be a play within a play, and perhaps more layers than that. A screen within a screen, a stage within a stage. How will that function in order to meta-convey, symbolically convey the intent of the story? I don't know, because I don't know what the intent of the story is yet, but maybe we'll get some clues in the first episode that'll help us piece it together. Other than our main guy, our director, I picked up on a couple of other interesting individuals on the staff list. One of them is probably the most experienced member on staff, and he is taking a slightly backseat role as an episode director and storyboarder, and that is Masayaki Kojima, the director of Maid in Abyss, and Monster, and Master Keaton, and a whole fuckload of other things. Extremely experienced director, lots of great work under his belt, now taking a backseat role and letting a new talent spring forth. That seems pretty cool. So there's an experienced guiding hand in the cast, or in the staff. I think that's important. And then the last one that I really looked at with any intent, we may look at some others if I care a lot about like the character design or something else stands out to me. I'll probably go and look up who that was just to get an idea. But there are 2 people credited for music on this one. My anime list only credits 1, but ANN credits 2. So I'm going to go with ANN and assume that it's right. One of them is the familiarly named Yoshiaki Fujisawa, who did the music for Hoseki no Kuni, and as well as Sorayori, and then a number of other things that haven't quite lived up to that standard. And then Kato Tatsuya, who did the music for Shokugeki no Soma, which I think has actually a really good soundtrack. It's one of the things about Soma that I really like. And Prisma Ilia, where the music doesn't really stand out to me, but that's probably because there's other crazy shit going on with the insanity that is Prisma Ilia. Either way, we got some good hands to put the music in, probably, especially given that it's a music-focused show. Other than that, school, music, stage within a stage, play within a play, strong theater stuff, and I know that there's a talking giraffe, and I don't know what that means. It's a meme, it's a meme, and I've heard the meme, and that's all I know. There's a talking giraffe, and he's a giraffe that talks. That's all I know. That's all I've got. Let's watch some Revue Starlight. I'm nervous. I'm always nervous when I start a show that I know is probably going to have a lot to dive into, especially when I get the impression that there's a lot of layered stuff that's easy to miss. It just feels like pressure, you know? It's like going into the big game as opposed to going to practice or whatever. Like starting a show like Girls in Panzer, I can be relatively certain that while it may surprise me on some axes, it's not going to force me to think a lot at like highest level, highest capacity. Whereas starting something like Utena or Sarazanmai or Penguin Drum is gonna make me turn my brain inside out. That being said, I like turning my brain inside out. It's fun. I wouldn't do it if it weren't fun. But it's also a lot of pressure. It's also stressful. So, let's get geared up for it and then we'll dive on into episode 1 of Revue Starlight. I'll give my spiel. There will be 2 episodes of this reaction. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. The timer-based version will have discussion at the end. The picture-in-picture version will not, for my ease in uploading, so mix and match as you see fit. And if you want to sync up your own copy of episode 1 of Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight with the timer-based version, you're welcome to do so. I've gone and grabbed, at a recommendation from someone in my Discord, the Chew Pass, the one that's available on Ya that starts with Chew Pass. That's the one I grabbed. So if you want to sync up the exact same copy, grab that one. That's what I've got. It's up at 0 seconds. If you want to sync up your own thing, you can totally do that. Just get your copy ready because the beep beep timer to count you down to 0 will be coming at you soon. And if you want next episode of Revue Starlight a little bit early, it'll be up a week early on early access via Patreon, so check that out if you want to. Other than that, we're good to go. So if you are syncing up, get your copy ready. Beep beep timer goes here. Okay, open in an audience. She has a crown. Crown pin. Okay, and now she's on stage. Closer and further, younger and older. Hands clasped. Telling the story together. Okay. That framework looked like the bottom of the Tokyo Sky Tower. Okay, to become shining stars together. Crown pin, picture of them as children, eraser, dino thing, they live together. Okay. That subtle camera movement was good. The colored fingernails are interesting. You don't see that very often, they're usually skin tone. My roommate in college used to have to deal with that. When I was asleep through my alarm and he'd try to wake me up, I'd be like, rah. Ah, she left her pin. Got it. Aww. Alright, I like their character designs. Not sure how I feel about the black-haired girl's voice at the moment. It'll probably grow on me, but... Ballet? Dance class? Yeah. A stage in its own way. 25. Called out. Shoujo Claudine. Ichiban gutto. Banana. Okay. Dai banana. Okay. Alright, we got a sleepy one. This is way too many characters. Stop. Stop. Ooh, purple eyes. Says the other sleepyhead. Yeah. Ah, it's too much. Stop it. Alright. That was a cut. And she wants center stage, position 0. Alright, conflict. My, something. Center of attention. Alright. Coach? Teacher. Urara. Okay. Only those two in colored outfits, though. Claudine and Maya. $99, but okay. Okay. Doesn't like that particular food, or it looks like a bug. What was that? Goddesses of fury, arrogance, jealousy, escape. Okay. I want that timestamp. So they've already put on Starlight. Okay. So there's an element of repetition and trying again. How about the lead? Just watching the stare down. Yeah, and what's going on between them? Are they... What? Are they food racing? New arrival. Shake things up. All right, who is this mysterious new arrival? Okay, what's happening? Okay, what's happening? And okay. Welcome to Dream World. Minus the show by Rock. We are on Tokyo Tower, aren't we? We are. And the girl who is... What? Okay, she's got her own stars. Slow fall? Yeah, there we go. That was the giraffe. So will she recognize her or the pin? That's the girl in her picture. It's not her roommate. Oh. She does. It is. Does she recognize you? Go make sure. Is it weird to get strong Senjo Kahara vibes from her? I don't know why I do, but I do. You think? But has the reason for it changed? She didn't get a room? Yeah, excuse me, hold on, wait. She's leaving. Yeah. Probably already been assigned a room. All right. And she's a super genius, right? Yeah. Surprising even her. Yeah, even her senpai. Okay, okay. She's better than all of them. Bit of a mess, though. Holding on to the photo. Phone in the luggage, missed message. Arrival appears. Mm-hmm. Yet. So she's doing it mechanically. I need to write that down. Phone. Picture. Picture. What else is here? Gonna follow her, find out something you shouldn't know. Yeah. Yeah, let's follow her. Oh, yeah. Instant Black Rose Arc vibes. Instantly Black Rose Arc. Elevator? Oh, let's go down. Down, down, down. Let's go. I'm gonna assume this is the giraffe speaking. There's position 0. And there are the girders. And this realm is magic. It's a fight to the fucking death, isn't it? Oh, hi. Please, please notice the speaking giraffe now. Thank you. Whose voice is that? Ah. Ah. Destined for this. Jesus. Oh, wow. And then the transition to dynamic. Wow. I mean, sure, Mr. Giraffe Boy. Ah. So it's not to the death. It's capture the flag, sort of. Ah. You lack motivation. What? I'm entering the stage regardless. Splat. Henshin? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What's the expression on her face? Baka. Bakaren. Oh, fuck. Wait, that's the end. We're in OP or ED territory now. That flew by. Okay. I need to be paying attention. Okay. Yeah. All right. That was a lot. That was a lot. Laying claim to position 0, and with it to Hikari. Girl with a lack of motivation, driven by an old promise that the other half of seems to have given up on. Not for herself, but for the promise to become a star. Discovers that the path to actually get there is fraught with danger and is part of a greater game. One that requires combat and song. All right, let me think about this for a little bit while I adjust my blinds so that I'm not glowingly bright. One sec. All right, I've spent a good long time with this episode, far more than usual. I have a lot of notes. A lot of notes. And I'll be straightforward. A lot of them are bits and pieces that don't really fit together. I don't have a coherent take on this first episode of Revue Starlight. I don't know if it would be possible to. But that's okay, because there's a lot here. I mean a lot here. And it's pretty interesting. Alright, let's give this a good old college try. Fuck, I don't know where to start. The last 5 minutes, I haven't changed my notes at all. I've just been trying to figure out where to start. I've got 3 pages equivalent of notes, and that's a lot. I wish that I could start on a broad level and then narrow down to the little things, but I don't understand the broad level. So I'll just start talking and we'll see how that goes, and I'll go through it in post, and if I say anything really stupid, I'll cut it out. Layers and layers, stages and stages. Okay. The place to start is the beginning. I went ahead and transcribed the entire opening lines, all of the opening lines. This is the story of goddesses. Guided by the light of the stars, they collide and clash. They grow closer even as they pass each other by. However, they are pulled apart, never to meet again. It is a somber tale. The story of those 8 girls hopelessly captivates us. The song of those 8 girls hopelessly stirs us. Let us go to that stage to become shining stars together. Okay, the reason that I decided on a whim to start with this opening statement or opening thesis is because I think it's probably pretty fucking important. And the way that it's presented to the audience is also important, because right off the bat, we've got a layer, a meta layer. Simultaneously, we are being told this, in the context of the play on the stage within the show, is the story of the goddesses guided by the light of the stars. They collide and clash, they blah, 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 blah. The story of those 8 girls hopelessly captivates us and stirs us. We're simultaneously in the shoes of our protagonist, looking upon the stage, talking about the show occurring on the stage, and we're being informed what the nature of the overall show that we're actually watching, the anime that we experience through our screen, is going to be. It, as well, is going to be the story of these goddesses, guided by the light, colliding and clashing, being pulled apart, never to meet again. A somber tale. At least that's the expectation. It hopelessly captivates us, hopelessly stirs us, and thus we as the audience should be hopelessly captivated and stirred as well. Or at least that's the hope. Let us go to that stage to become shining stars together. Okay. Works on that meta layer. There are some wrong things with the opening sequence, though. I don't mean wrong in that they're bad. I mean wrong in that they're off, and that indicates something interesting. So let's look at it. Okay. These opening visuals are critical. Boom. First thing that we see, main character's face looking upon a stage. We can understand because of the chairs that she's in. She's in an audience. She is an observer, passive on the outside and looking in. Then our attention switches, and it appears for an instant as though the character on stage is the one who's speaking to us, but it is not so. It is more than that. The hands reach up and capture the starlight. Here, boom. Straight from the TV tropes entry, and the light disappears, and she brings it close to her chest. Boom. She is not the current roommate. No, she is the girl with the stars. Suddenly, our audience member is no longer an audience member. She is a part of the play itself. She steps directly into the spotlight, pirouetting her way there. We get a taste for what her outfit will look like, and it's pretty fucking dope. We return, and she is still seated, still excited, but she's regressed. Now she's a child. Young, at the same age that she is in the photo, the promise that she made. And we have to assume that the hand that she clasps here is the hand of Hikari, right? We have to assume that. We could be wrong. But that's the assumption that we're intended to make, given that they're the only two characters that really make an appearance here. Boom. The light flares, never to meet again. Pulled apart, it is a somber tale. And yet the two girls on stage are together, performing together, working together, intertwined. And they step to the sides, and we see this. And this is the most interesting part of the opening sequence to me. All right, we've got stairs. Stairs imply destination, a goal at the top. They imply improvement and moving upward, and they imply a hierarchy, especially when you organize a bunch of characters along those stairs. On the stairs that we see immediately, well, we might as well go through it because there's something interesting at the top as well. Up at the top, looming above everything, it looks kind of like a door, but we'll see in the very, very next shot that it is, in fact, the tower behind them. Large, phallic, blocky, looming. And the glowing light from the very top of it almost implies a spectator, somebody watching, somebody observing. And then there are the girders in the beams of Tokyo Tower, which are out of place. They don't make sense here. We seem to be in a dark underground location of some kind, and that doesn't make any sense. These are off. They're not wrong, but they're wrong. There's something weird going on. Something metaphorical or magical. And it doesn't really matter which, because we're in symbol space. Okay. So now that we've got the whole picture of the tower and the stairs in front of it, draped with wreaths of red cloth, up at the top, Hikari, seemingly dead or playing dead. She's got her symbol, her two symbols. There are sort of two symbols that are associated with her. One is the set of star pins that she has, which are very real, and then the other is the little, it's like a bear or a dog face that is white and cute and floofy. She has the same thing on her in the photo that we see of them, and there was one other thing. Oh, she had a stuffed animal of it when we saw her bags unpacked and her stuff scattered everywhere. Next to her is the cloak, the thing, which we find out later is crucial and is the element which determines whether you pass or fail or win the battle. If it's off of her, that means she's lost. That's our main character's cloak. And her sword, which we have seen before, is stuck deep into the ground next to Hikari, implying that she has sacrificed herself or allowed herself to lose, or has done this intentionally. She's left her marker and then taken off the thing that if it's taken off, she loses. So a forfeit, or a you go on ahead, or a your dreams are more important than mine. I don't know, but maybe. But it doesn't seem to have panned out, and it does seem to indicate the kind of tragedy that the voiceover indicates, because Hikari seems to be asleep or dead or something. They all do. And I don't know why. Okay, now that we've done that, we've got our oddness, which is Hikari alone at the top, with only symbols of our main character next to her. I gotta look at the names again. Hold on. Kari Kagura. And Karen Aijo. Right. Karen. Bakaren. Got it. Okay. So that at the top is weird. Definitely weird. Then at the bottom we have pairings for the most part. And they seem to echo the way that our characters have been interacting for the most part so far. And this is the first point in the show where Yuri pairings are really implied. And it's not the last, but there are some interesting wrinkles to how those are being implied, and we'll talk about it. If we look at each level of the steps, at the very, very bottom is Karen's current roommate, who is kind of on the outs and doesn't have anyone else with her. Yikes, sorry. One step above her is the purplish-haired girl with the Megane and Banana. They are laying together, pointed toward each other, but there's a space between them. One step above them are the blue and pink-haired girls, who I don't really know the names of, but they seem to operate as a unit most of the time that we see them. Specifically, when the two that are above them, Claudine, whoops, and then Maya is the other. No, Claudine is that one. Who's the other one? There are a lot of characters. Please bear with me. Is it Maya? Yeah, it's Maya Tendo and then Claudine. They're the queen bees at this point, or seem to be. And then they seem to have tension between them, but they are on the same level together. And we see when the blue-haired girl and the pink-haired girl, who are one layer below them, they act in unison when they start eating in front of them, watching their, like, stare-off, whatever the hell that is. Unknown what that was, but they seem to be a unit. All right, so we got some pairings. Not sure what else is going on there. Got ourselves a big phallic tower looming above everything, and we've got the stage itself, which is our destination and our goal. Neato. First shot of the thing, lots of stuff built into it. Music in the iPod there. Weird alarm clock, but I don't know. I don't think it really matters. The photo is, of course, quite important, of their arms intertwined, and then the crown pin, which will become a plot object because she has to come back for it. Neat. Strongly reliant on her friends around her. Kind of a ditz, kind of a doofus, kind of a goober, but likably so. And then we have, first instance of cool camera work. Bada bing, bada boom. So there are a bunch of camera tricks that occur over the course of this episode. There are instances like this that are the subtle tracking movements, where we are tracking her head, essentially, as the camera moves back and then pulls into frame, and then we cut back to it. I think that's pretty cool. I like these smooth little camera movements. They're nice. They're interesting. They add dimension and stuff. It's good. It's cool. And then I noticed that the nails are colored, which is interesting. Not a usual thing. And we get our first real glimpse of our character's eyes, which are nice. All the characters' eyes are nice. They're nothing super special. They're good, though. All right. Onward and onward. Onward and onward. And then we have to go back. Boom. There are always things going on in the background. It's fun, and we'll talk about some more camera tricks a little bit later when we get to them. But we get this with the overexposure in the background to give us a sort of a blank background to see our main character with. And boom, hello. And then we turn our attention to the photo. Photos in the room that indicate things are common all over the place, but you could call them a bit of an Ikuharaism if you want to. They're rampant throughout there are some in Sarazanmai. They're rampant throughout Penguin Drum. They're all over the place. Yeah, seems like an Ikuharaism to me. Same thing with the use of what I'll call props. Which is weird because they are doing a stage play that does include props, but there are also props. There are bits and bobs, elements that indicate stuff about the characters or are important. The crown pin and the star pin, I think, are core props so far. They're the big central thing. They're also reminiscent in some way of the, like, rose ring. They seem to be important, but we don't know why. Is it just because a promise has been attached to them and they're important to our characters, or do they have some more metaphysical importance? Unknown, but interesting to think about, and interesting to keep our eye out for more props. Okay, so we enter school and it is notably empty, but she's there super early, nobody else is here, so that makes perfect sense. And then we enter this room. The kind of loving attention that we give to simple elements of this room is interesting, and I think it's intentional and it has an effect. The way we linger on this shot of the I don't know what you call them, the balance bars that you use to hold on to while doing different maneuvers in ballet class or whatever. The way that we linger on this shot and then linger on the tape on the floor, it's almost reverent in terms of what the camera is telling us. It's almost reverent. Like, this is almost a holy place. Even though it's a practice room, it's almost a holy place. It's a lesser stage. And I think that's intended, and it's interesting. It gives us a vibe for what this place is, and a respect for the place itself. You can almost imagine the gaze that we're currently inhabiting being the gaze of someone who, consider like an alumni, coming back after a number of years to the place that started off her journey and slowly taking in the things that are different and the things that are the same, maybe running her fingers along this bar, maybe stopping for a moment to stare at the tape on the ground, to remember the different tape that was there when she was there, the hundreds of iterations of different taped tees that have been placed in that location. That's the air that I get from this scene, and it's all conveyed by this, and that's it. I think this third shot is a little bit different because it's not focused on the details, it's the whole. And it's the stage, the square, the square or rectangular stage. And it becomes a stage very quickly as people begin to enter, as the audience and the players, one and the same, begin to filter in. She announces herself, but to no one. I think that's interesting. Is that following the rules? Is that for our benefit? Or is it for herself? But she steps onto the stage, and once again we have an emphasis on a specific detail. In this case, it's crossing the threshold. When you see a shot like this, as a character moves from one environment to another, this is crossing the threshold. There's a difference on one side and then the other. She stops at first position, hesitates, then kind of goes for it. All right, stretching and stretching and stretching. And second to anything that you could consider Yuri. I mean, it's not. They're not doing anything sexual or sexualized. They're just stretching. But we've got two girls being intimately close to each other, and we are specifically shown this one close up. Why this one? Well, because her face is in her boobs, and it's weird, and it's awkward. But it also doesn't become anything. It doesn't become a gag. It doesn't turn into a, whoa, hands off. It doesn't turn into a non-consensual groping the way that something like Railgun might. It doesn't do any of those things. It just kind of is a part of things, and then it stops being a part of things, and we just continue. Okay. It's aware that that shot was there. It was a close-up intentionally. It's aware that the audience's mind will go there. So why is it here? If it doesn't want to bring it to the fore and bring it to attention. Conjecture. It wants to subvert expectations around Yuri relationships. Conjecture number 2. You learn it from Ikuhara. I mean, hey, you want to go to the goat? You can go to the goat. I expect subversion of Yuri relationships. Considering we have an all-girls school, we have a very clear, like, major pairing of Karen and Hikari. There's a lot. Multiple other clear pairings if we want to go there. There's a lot. Okay, so we meet Claudine and Maya. think Maya comes in a bit later. And they stand out quite a bit from the rest of the group. We do get some awesome little moments of animation around the characters as they dance and move and swing and stuff. And we get another of the camera tricks. It's not really a camera trick, it's an animation trick. It's the use of depth of field, and it happens pretty frequently. There's an instance a little bit later when her current roommate girl runs from the back of the room all the way up and then pulls her out, and then we switch angles. It's a pretty cool one. And it reminds me of some of the stuff that KyoAni was doing in Ice Cream Hyoka. Took me a minute. All right, and they dance. And most of what they talk about, most of what they actually converse about is just like our main character's inability to actually get up on time, which is great. I like Banana. Her name is Banana. I can't hate it. She's memorable immediately. As is Claudine, because she's got the Ojo ringlets and stuff. You know, she definitely has that Ojo-sama-ness. Our central goober Karen. I don't know what to think of her. She's kind of like if Yui and Hibiki were just thrown into the apparatus from The Fly and got morphed together. That's kind of what I get from her. She's got that gooberness, absolutely, but then she's also got a core of determination that's interesting. We'll see. And then we've got Megan, a purple girl. Don't know anything about her. Cool. Dance around. Others enter. These two immediately are a pair. They enter together, literally in each other's arms. Beyond that, there's something about the particular shades of blue and pink for their hair. And if you've seen enough Mahou Shoujo, you know exactly what I mean. But if you were to look at the cast of this show with no indication of who the main characters were, if you were to just put the character design sheets minus transformations in front of me and tell me this is related to Mahou Shoujo in some way, who are the main characters? I would go, pink hair girl is the main character and she's probably the Genki girl. Blue hair girl is probably more demure and she's the deuteragonist. She's the secondary character. There's something about these two that's intentionally like leaning into this blue oni, red oni thing that they've got going on. And it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see if it plays out. I don't know. We'll also have to see who the goddesses are. And we'll get to that in a little bit. I don't know what it means, but it means something. But Maya enters, and we immediately can notice something. And two of these things are not like the others. Every single character in the room has like a white crop top, pinkish undergarments, straps, black leotard, white tights. Every single one of them. Except for those two. What's up with that? Why is she blue? Why is she pink? What's up with that? Is that seniority? Probably. But I don't know. Okay. And then if we were missing any indication that this girl is Queen Bee or amongst them, we get this shot. Again, the dynamic tracking shot, except this time it's really cool. I mean, that's really cool. I mean, that's so well done. Super duper well done. All right. And the indication that we get from that as she steps up to the tee, this is her rightful place. This is hers. Means we might have a rival on our hands. And I think she even says as much a little bit later. Once she's entered, Claudine does. We get a whole list of characters. Boom, 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 boom. Get prepped, get going, and then we get exposition on the academy itself via sort of montage. We are trained in all forms of expression, all forms of self-expression, all forms of plays, and it seems like the plays are the centerpiece, that everybody works together to make these plays come to fruition. Cool. Let me look that up. I didn't catch that. Kulu Bun Bun. Just because, I mean, Ikuhara likes to use things from places and references and stuff. And the only thing that I can find that is Kulu Bun Bun is actually related to Revue Starlight. So I don't think it's a thing. Let me look up Freddie Walther. Well, there's a human named Freddie Walther who has a YouTube channel. No videos, though. Rip. Okay, well, that's a dead end. It seems to have gotten dark. Is it too dark? I think we're okay. Okay. So that doesn't seem to be anything. Rip. This is the other problem with Ikuhara-esque shows that like to insert a lot of symbolism places. You end up looking for them in places that there isn't any. It's unfortunate, because I'm desperate not to miss anything, but I'm sure that I'll miss stuff, so I'll just give it up. Okay, we are stage girls. We chose to live for this. Boom, boom, boom. And then we lay it out. We are friends going up on the same stage and rivals. Not but, and. Friends and rivals. We are both. Nice. Banana makes lots of lunch. That's really cool. Unclear about this. Does she find this particular type of vegetable? Is it like a spring onion or something? Does she find it disgusting? Disgusting? Or does it look like something else to her? I don't know. But she just puts them on her partner's plate. Okay, they take seats across from each other with blue and red staring at them, looking at them. And we start to get the sheet. Cool. I wrote down everything that I could get from this one. I also did a risky Google to determine if I could find a fully translated version, because I was really interested in what this portion over here is about, because I don't know what anything in this portion over here is about. I think it is interesting that it ends at 12, but I don't know why. So if anybody could indicate what like the general gist of what these are saying is, that would be really cool. But it's not information that we have at this point, so I can't speculate on it. What we get. Main cast. Claire and Flora. Let me pull up a katakana chart really quick. Oh, wait, actually, I don't need to, because those are katakana. We know that those say Claire and Flora. Yeah. Claire, yeah, okay. Cool. So these are just translations. Those aren't names associated with them. I wasn't sure how destructive the typesetting was. Claire and Flora are the leads. And then there are 6 more. Goddess of Fury, Goddess of Arrogance, Goddess of Jealousy, Goddess of Escape, Goddess of Curse, and Goddess of Despair. If we're right in thinking that the opening lines are functional on a meta level as well as telling us about the actual players within the play, and we're right in thinking that the play will be occurring on multiple levels, it's already occurring on 2 at least. The audition process is a battle in an underground nonsensical location, and the stage itself is a stage. But then the school itself is a stage, and then the whole show is a stage, and the dance room is a stage, and there are lots of stages. So we'll go ahead and assume that the opening lines are to indicate things to us about the overall story as well as the story within a story. Things like our characters will collide and clash, that's pretty obvious. They are guided by the light of the stars, which could be metaphorical for almost anything. The story of goddesses, they'll be female and cool. They'll grow closer even as they pass each other by, but they will eventually be pulled apart, never to meet again. This ends in tragedy. It is a somber tale. Expectations, but potential for subversion. The story of these 8 girls hopelessly captivates us. The story of these 8 girls hopelessly stirs us. We have more than 8 girls, to be fair. We have more than 8. But who's who? And can we draw one-to-one associations between the roles that they will be playing and the characters themselves? Associations that may not be indicative of what roles they actually end up playing in the play within the play? Maybe. Maybe not. The obvious road would be we end up with Hikari and Karen playing the mains, the leads, Claire and Flora. But there are two people already primed for those roles, Claudine and Maya. So there's competition and conflict there. And it's possible that each of them may end up embodying one of these other goddesses, like arrogance or jealousy. But it's unknown. Or I'm thinking out my ass and none of it actually matters. I have a feeling it matters. Probably matters. Okay, let's keep moving. Because we're slowing down. Okay, we get to this point and it is revealed to us that this is not their first time performing. They did this play already as first years. We see Banana's room, which is great because she's got all these banana-related things everywhere, like the banana-shaped mouse pad and the banana pillow on her bed, and there was something else. There's a banana pin holding up one of the things on her little board thing. It's great. Okay, and then there are pictures of all of the other girls and friendships and stuff. It's cute. It's nice. Okay. But we then sort of zoom in on this picture and find, well, the two of them are central to it. Maya and Claudine are central to it. They look awkward in it. And each of them has a hair ornament when none of the other girls do. I wonder if that's important. The olive wreath, which would, means the symbol of the emperor, and then I don't know what Maya's hairpin is supposed to be, but it's no longer the same type of hairpin that she uses now. She uses the crisscrossed pins, or string, or something. Okay, but this gives us the impression that this has a repeating element, though we may only get to see one instance of the play. The play repeats. They're going to be putting it on for 3 nights, or for 3 years, 3 different years. It's kind of an expanded equivalent of of a play weekend, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the first one is opening night. Things can go wrong. Things can be a little iffy, but we learn from it. Second night is when we catch our stride, and that's what we're going to be witnessing. Maybe. Maybe I'm overthinking again. But there's an element of repetition and an element of familiarity. We're not doing something new, we're refining it. We get to do it again. Incredibly fortunate, and she loves the play. Loves it, loves it, loves it. It fires me up. We get another little taste of dynamic camera at the very end of this to accent the motion and sort of put us in our shoes of being taken aback. It's great. I like it a lot. Alright, maybe next time, you and I could play, the leads. But it's not going to happen. And we're sort of informed that by this hard cut as she reaches the peak of her excitement. We hard cut away to these stone faces, as though saying no. Oof. We know that she ends up alone at the end because we saw it at the beginning. Sorry. I'm sorry. You seem nice, but you're fucked. I'm sure they'll get the lead roles again. Alright, so these two acting in perfect unison, just eaten, and watching these two as they seem to stare off. Very weird. So, movement begins, right? She starts to move, and Claudine, jumps for her food as though it's a race. And then she stops to say a little prayer, and Claudine hesitates. Then she stops, Claudine puts hers down, and she starts praying. What? That's weird. That's very weird. Boom. Action begins. The auditions haven't even started yet. But she's made a mental note of this. This was scouting for her, because she's going to somehow get her involved in this thing soon. Why bells in her hair? And why don't they jingle when she walks? At least I don't remember hearing them jingle. Or when she spins. They don't jingle. Silent bells. Huh, weird. And then there's this difference in reaction with Banana not caring, even taking a picture perhaps? Unclear. And then roommate girl freaking out. Possibly because she's interested in main character? Unknown. But this is where the entire episode changes, dramatically. Up until this point, nothing has been truly fantastical except for the opening sequence. Everything has been relatively grounded. It's a performing arts academy. They're girls, they go to the performing arts academy, they're competitive, they compete with each other, they're driven. There are some elements of, like, weirdness about the way that they're driven, but all in all, normal. Real. Believable. No disbelief to suspend, except for the inevitable layer of disbelief that this is not real life. I'm looking at it on a screen, it's drawings, that layer. That's always there. But other than that, no disbelief to suspend. And then this happens. Wheel, rotation, revolution, spinning, driven toward a destination, dragging behind, suitcase, luggage, baggage, trauma? Spinning, spinning, revolution, spinning. Okay. Just word association. But then it changes, and then that's where it starts to become important. So she starts moving along. Karin starts dozing off in class. A sandwich is circling around in my brain. And we begin to hone in on the wheels, and the rest of the world begins to fade. The wheel is all that remains, and now it's not a wheel so much as it looks like it's a top looked upon from above. But then it's not that either. Now it's a gear, a cog in a machine, still a wheel, still moving, still in motion, but not driving itself. And it reverses. It's not driven by itself, it's driven by the machinery around it, a cog. But one that doesn't effectively fit its system quite. One that's purpose is unclear, and is part of a vast, vast, vast world of machinery, too large to comprehend. But it plays a part, we assume. We assume. This is the lifting of a curtain, right? That's what this pulley would be. Like you pull this rope up and the curtains rise. So this is lifting the curtain inside the subconscious of our protagonist, of Karin. Okay. It functions on a meta level as well. It's the opening to our story, but it's also the point at which the stage as a whole is revealed to us. As an audience member sitting in a theater, you don't actually see the stage until the curtain lifts. Unless you know what play is being performed, you don't have any indication of what the setting or location will look like. You don't understand the rules or the stakes or the things you'll have to suspend your disbelief upon. So the curtain lifts. And then it also functions on almost an idiomatic level, because raising the curtain is like lifting the veil or removing the obscurity or allowing access or allowing observation. And so we're seeing deeper inside Karen's mind than maybe she knows. Interesting. So we find ourselves transported through billowing fabric that becomes clouds and reveals that we, with her, are somewhere else. We're at Tokyo Tower. Way up on Tokyo Tower. Huge, imposing, a view upon the entire world. Why Tokyo Tower? Ikuhara uses it symbolically in various shows. Uses it in Sarazanmai. Not Sarazanmai, in Penguin Drum. I don't actually remember if he used it in Sarazanmai. What is its symbolic significance? I mean, it's a big tower. You could say it's just phallic, but I think that the big stone tower or marble tower that we see inside the playroom or whatever it is, the underground bunker place, is more phallic. It's more of a symbol of Japan and location, technology and progress, framework and structure. I don't know. Or is it just an excuse to get her up high? I don't know. Why am I up here? Real questions. Okay, and then we see as Hikari approaches her, and we're uncertain of her motivations. Until we are very certain of her motivations. She pushes Karin off. But even then, there's ambiguity here, because we're in a dream state. Falling here doesn't necessarily mean death, although it would in reality, and so we could immediately take this as an intentional betrayal, a throwing under the bus, by pushing her off. And it may very well be, that may be something of the reason that we don't get our main character in the lineup at the beginning of the opening. Maybe. Or it could be something else. It could be that symbolically the presence of Hikari in play is what forces Karen out of her comfort zone, forces her to take the leap, very literally. Because she's been languishing on what she considers an important promise to herself and to her friend, or once friend, and hasn't taken the leap to actually try. She is, well, as Maya, I think, says about Hikari, her heart's not in it. Until it is. Until it has to be, until she's forced to leap. Boom, she goes. This shot is pretty cool. I mean, I expected it once we were holding the shot, but damn, it's still pretty fucking cool. Time slows down as she falls. That's right, I bought it here. So the two little headband pieces are crucial, and they are props. They're props that embody a promise. Sounds pretty familiar. Reminds me of a lot of Penguin Drum stuff. A lot of Penguin Drum stuff. Like the keychains. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Promise at the beginning that sets everything into motion. The promise that I made with her. Cool. And the realization that she won't be able to get it from here. She won't be able to fulfill it. But it won't get fulfilled like this. Like this meaning the way that I've been going about things. And then this is a nice little surprise moment. It's kind of shocking when it happens the first time. It's so out of place and weird. Very interesting. Okay. But in this moment, we just help her up. Everything's fine. But we are very careful to keep purple-haired girl in frame because she is doing something. Oh, yes, she is. She has made a call. Of some kind. And I turned myself upside down to be able to read that bit of text at the very bottom. It says, "And it shall be bestowed upon you, the star which you have longed for." All right, here's another Ikuhara-ism for you. Something eternal. What does it mean? bringing about revolution. What does it mean? The star which you have longed for. What does it mean? No clue. No clue. It's vague, it's nebulous, it's the very peak. It's something. Regardless, we want it. We don't quite know why we want it. And that's the thing to investigate. I think the fact that we haven't been told specifically why we want it, besides we made a promise. Okay, but what underlies that promise? What was the thing? Is it just that we are stage girls and so reaching the pinnacle of the stage is our goal? Maybe. Maybe. But it seems like it's probably more than that. I think digging into characters' whys is going to be important in this show. But we'll see. Audition day 1. And the symbol. Starry giraffe, moon over white circle. Okay. Something is afoot. A game within a game. New transfer student. Lost in thought. And it just so happens to be her. I realized after a little while that Hikari, her character design specifically, it reminds me very strongly of 2 characters. It reminds me very strongly of Reina Kosaka from Hibike, and it reminds me rather strongly of main girl from... Is it Snafu? Origairu? Origairu main girl. Main black hair girl. Yeah. Yeah, her. Reminds me of her. And then, of course, because it reminds me of her, she also, of course, reminds me of Mai from Bunny Girl Senpai, who was sitting over back. She's over there somewhere. Okay, I like her design. That's a list of characters that I think are all really cute, so that's good. And there she is. An old friend. Who's been studying abroad, which gives us the indication that she's probably the best. Probably super dope. And she proves us right. I love the way that a lot of these sequences are animated. The way that Karen is like playful and dancing her way around school and being ultra genki and stuff and just can't help it. She expresses unintentionally, almost as though it's just a part of being. And that's great. That's really good. Hikari really doesn't emote during this whole sequence at all, which gives us a bit of contrast. And when we do get close-ups of her, she's often draped in shadow. We get a line like this, "You haven't changed a bit," and she just stops short. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you would know. Still wearing that, just like we'd promised, and she looks away. Alright, something has changed in Hikari's mind about the promise that they've made, and it's unclear to us what. Alright. Cat thing on the shirt. For some reason, Hikari goes and picks it up. It may be just that she's invested in cute things and fluffy things, or maybe it reminds her of the dog or bear mascot that she seems to like. Either way, it's pretty great. Here we get our depth of field shot that I was talking about a little bit earlier, where she runs up, runs in, runs out. It's really cute. It's bouncy and gives depth to the shot. In the meantime, she's investigating the shirt. This is too sudden. We can't get a third roommate. And off she goes. I'm a problem? Later. And she's gone. Eero clunk. Just out of reach, eh? Just behind a door. She sheds a slipper as she's running, and I don't think it's important. But I'll make note of it, because maybe it's important. Odd geometry in this scene. It's not odd, it's accurate. It just feels weird. It's interesting. Alone in the world, separated by just the door. Interesting. Let's work together and become stars together. Interesting. And then there's Tokyo Tower. But there's something wrong with it. Hold on. Does that thing in the center actually exist on the real Tokyo Tower? Not like that. No, there's a center core that's like built into the building beneath it. So that's not right. And intentionally so. What it looks like is as though somebody cut the top of the tower off, flipped it over, and applied it to the bottom of it so that it goes up like this, and then where it would continue going up, it's just severed and flipped so that the point points down. Because that thing in the center looks like the thing on the very top, but it's pointed down. There's something very weird about that. Background weird. I don't know. But what it could indicate, I have no idea. Alright, transition to showing us how awesome Hikari is. She's fucking awesome. She's the bomb diggity. And there's this moment here, yeah, where they're practicing, they're doing a portion, and she emotes, right? We get that ultra close up to see it. And out of character, Maya, who's been presented to us as the Queen Bee, reacts to it. Like, whoa, that was good. At least that's how I'm reading it. I can't do that, is what I read from that. Or like, oh shit, she's actually a legitimate threat to my position. She's really good. It's pretty neat. So we demonstrate her competence and go to the showers. All right. Here's something interesting. We have an opportunity for fan service here. Okay? Everybody knows it. Everybody probably expects it. This is anime, after all. You put your all-female cast into a changing room or a hot spring or take them to the beach or bring them in the shower. It's a chance to show off some skin, right? What do we do? Not that. Not that at all. There's this shot. There's this shot. Shoulders up. Not even an indication of breasts. Not even a little bit. This shot. Again, shoulders up. Not even an indication of what's below. And the wide. A hand, a back, and it's over. Opportunity rejected. That's not the purpose. It's not what we're here for. Now this becomes interesting. Do we at any point get any kind of sexualized gaze upon our characters? If so, when and why? And can we parse that? It's just a question for the future because it hasn't happened yet. But if it does in the future, we need to be on the lookout for it. When we note sexualization, we need to be on the lookout for it because it's been absent. The closest thing is the one shot we get when she pulls on her leotard, and we get a relatively close-up of her butt, but it's like, it's nothing. Interesting. So there's something weird about this, about the way she goes about this. She's looking under the cushions of the couch as she's looking for Hikari? Weird. Very strange. And the scheming starts. But that girl, she doesn't have her heart in it. Maybe that's what she picked up on during their little interaction when Hikari emoted. Maybe it was robotic, and she was picking up on that instead. Unknown. Okay. So we go from this very standard, very flat shot. Very standard. Straightforward. A bunch of flat shots before it, mostly. Close-ups on characters, little bits of their environment. That's it. Go from all of that to an unnerving angle. Boom. This is unnerving. All the lines are wonky. Just because of the perspective, even the stairway lines don't end up being parallel. They're weird. The fact that there's this light fixture in the foreground is also weird. It obscures a bunch of our space. It makes us feel claustrophobic. The upper stairway and the lower stairway sort of combine forces to crush our character up into this tiny little corner up there. The geometry over on the far right of the screen with this portion of wall that we can see is strange and off and wrong. This isn't good composition. That's why it's good composition. It's unnerving. It's uneasy. It's weird. It's wrong. Because we're entering into the weird. Okay. Oh, can we play? Can we play? Please? Alright, there we go. The room's normal. Everything's normal. Her stuff is splayed out everywhere. There are these pupper dogs, or bears, or whatever they are. I don't know. And all her crap everywhere. Her phone has been taken. The message that was on it when she was just sort of laying there seems to have been answered. The photo is still there. She's still thinking about it. The book behind her has what looks like 2 stars interlocking, which is interesting. And then out we look. And we see her going. And if you've seen enough anime, you know this is a hook. This is a plot hook, right? Okie dokie. Let's go on a plot hook adventure. Sun's going down. The atmosphere of the entire environment is changing, but slowly. Running back in. And then there's this. A long, almost endless hallway. A dark, dark entryway. And immediate vibes of the Black Rose arc. Something about this hallway, man. Something about it. All you need are signs with pointing hands and lots of chairs. But we run up. Oh, an elevator? Neat. And again, the geometry doesn't quite make sense. Why is the elevator door off to the side like that? Why is there a room within a room where the elevator would be? This doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't quite read that way immediately. It's like, okay, there's an elevator. Alright, if you've seen enough Ikuhara shows, you go, elevator, portal to another world. Oh fuck, we're going. And at this point, I started getting excited. And I was right to. What I expected. An elevator that takes us to another world through a crazy adventure thing. Show by rock optional. What I didn't expect. What they knew that we wouldn't expect. The entire wall moves. This is really clever. I can't say it more times than that. I can't just say, like, this is really clever more. And I can't really elaborate on how clever this is, but this is really clever. We have an expectation. Expectation is elevators are behind doors. Elevators are behind big elevator doors. Okay, what does the show give us? It gives us an elevator with buttons behind doors. What do we expect when we push an elevator door? Well, the same thing that every fucking elevator on Earth does. The door's open, you get in, you push another button, you determine where you're going. Not so, my friend. Not so in Revue Starlight. Instead, we push the button, and the whole wall shifts. This is so cool! You thought you were safe? Bye! I've frame by framed the start of this a number of times, and it is so perfect. And there it goes. Like, pages on the walls are getting sliced in half and then replaced unnoticeably. Awesome. And then the face that we get from her as she drops out of the world as she knows it. Excellent. And her replacement is locked in. No one the wiser. Yikes. Kind of implies that you could just go down there and disappear forever and nobody would notice. Okay, and now we're in the underbelly of the school. Fun action sequence that occurs here. And we are suddenly bombarded by insanity. Absolute insanity. Cascading down this track of a box. There are floating, hanging, like, doors? Or are they backdrops? No, they're backdrops. They're settings. They're stages. Bits and pieces all floating around, spiraling. There are elements of what look like painted city all over the place, like a bad silhouetted New York as well. Underground Theta. The first day of auditions, and we begin to hear the giraffe's voice, who is Tsuda Kenjiro, which I should have recognized immediately. There's some cool animated stuff, and again, we've been shown the importance multiple times of that position 0. It's something that our character has sort of looked at and stood on, but doesn't necessarily believe that she can gun for, and it's something that is currently claimed hard by Maya. So, competition. The centerpiece, and almost a trophy in and of itself. This thing explodes, she gets thrown flying, the insanity continues, and she is fine. Alright, the big statue tower thing is there, and it is big, and it is phallic, and it is looming. And the songs begin. And the battle songs begin. So, we get a little bit of a moment of, oh, this is why people were like, oh, hey, if you like Symphogear, you might like Revue Starlight. They sing while they fight. And they do. They sure as shit do. Okay, and our purpose at this point is to show just how fucking awesome this can be. The answer is it's really fucking awesome. The outfits that they have, the costume design is amazing, and the dynamic battle stuff that we end up doing is really cool. It's pretty well choreographed. There are definitely some key animators on staff that know what the fuck they are doing with action sequences. Stuff like this, follow the arrow, poof, and then the split of the hair, excellent. And then jumping back and forth and discovering the insanity that is the fucking talking giraffe, which doesn't actually have stars all over it. No, it does not. Okay. This is a review. Indeed. Song and dance woven into a mesmerizing play. Welcome to the stage within the stage. Till I've turned this world to ashes. And each of them has a unique weapon. Each which seems to have a gem embedded into it. I think, let me look at Hikari's dagger again. It does not. But I don't know what's attached to the wire at the bottom of it. So, unknown. And the metaphysical stakes are opened up to us. Whoever puts on the brightest shining review, the path to becoming the top star will be opened. And the tiara. Fun. Who will obtain that star tiara? And it's the top of the tower. Okay. And who decided it had to be that way? Why is it like this? Because it's a battle. You're all friends and rivals, right? Okay, and then there's, I think it's this cut, where you get fully dynamic with it. Yeah. Yeah. End up taking ourselves up in the acrobat hoop. Woo! Making the battlefield come to life. It's awesome. A lot of really cool cuts here. Huh. But the intent is to get the coat off. But you're not worthy. You don't care about being the main character. You're not pushing. So you don't belong. And she rejects that. I am willing. But it's not for herself, it's for Hikari. It's for the promise. We will definitely become stars together. She falls. We get this, which is out of world. And then stuff happens. The machinery starts whirring. The transformation isn't her, it's the environment? It's the clothing? I don't know. Blades for her sword? Probably. The garment that she'll wear? The pattern's already made by people who are not present. But it's implied they were done by hand by someone. The sewing automated, the buttons placed. Rows and rows and rows of identical shoes and boots. Rows and rows. There's a level of expendability to that. To how many identical copies of these outfits they seem to have. There's an element of expendable that seems to be woven in there. I mean, if we're trying to make a commentary on entertainment media, then the expendability of the individual human beings who do get up on stage or behind a camera or in front of a camera, I should say, and create media, they are considered expendable. If you're not top dog, you're nobody. That kind of thing. Could be a layer of commentary there. There's also something interesting about going from these rows and rows and rows of identical pieces to this individual closet opening. This is yours. This is special. This is unique, even though it's not. Something to that. But there is uniqueness to it. Each of them seems to have a different weapon. And we could say that the weapon that Karen ends up with could be a direct link to Utena. Like, choose the classic one-handed sword. Okay, again, a desexualized transformation in a lot of ways. Flippity-dippity-do. Amazing work on the cloth and fabric to make that look cool. And this whole sequence is awesome. I mean, it's just cool. Getting into it. Announcing herself. And then the battle begins. I'll starlight you all. I don't know what that means, but I'm down. Oh, and then there's this shot. Dope sauce McMuffins. Ah, and she pulls her into the same form of embrace that just reversed that she had pulled her into, taking the lead in this instance as her cape falls off. Victorious. It's also, I mean, it's in many things, and it's a big ol' shoujo pose thing that happens a lot, but it's also the pose that Utena uses when drawing the sword from Anthe. You know, it's the same. Well, there's something to it. Alright, the jacket falls. One defeated. The curtain closes. Sort of. Ah, her curtain closes. And we mark our position. Position 0. Claim it for ourselves. Poof. And for some reason, everything is draped in the red. I don't know why. It's, where have I seen this? I saw this recently. This is, Utena? No, I don't know what I'm thinking of. Okay. Whatever, ignore me. I don't know what it is. Why is it covered in red? Don't know. So then I guess the thing gleaming at the top is not an observer. It's the tiara. It's the goal. Okay. Okay. These are all ropes tied to Tokyo Tower, which surrounds them. And she stands in the spotlight. Hikari below her, having rescued her. There's another element here, which is the sort of the princeliness that Karen gives off. From the little royal crown that is her prop, her symbol, to the way that she steps into this fight when Hikari is losing and stands up for her, to just her manner of being and her way of carrying herself. It's kind of princely, in the same way that Utena is princely. And then Reina, I just called her Reina, holy shit. Hikari is... She knows more. She knows too much, kind of like Anthe does. Maybe in a similar way that Anthe does. She may be involved in things, but she knows more. She understands the dangers here. She's reluctant, maybe. Okay. The button falls, and that's the end. I assume that this is the OP being done as an ED, but I'm not positive. I'm sure that there are little bits and pieces that we could go through here, but I'm going to hold off for now because I'm losing steam. Yeah, there's probably plenty to look through. Okay, cool. Let me go through all my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything that I thought was super crucial. So, Crown Pin, 99th generation, Mahiru, Maya something, center of attention, Maya and Claudine, blue and pink, friends and rivals. 710 is the paper with the stuff about the play on it, Seisho Festival. We already put on Starlight, same play for 3 years, repetition question mark. Dream World, Tokyo Tower, Starlight Hairpin, Push Off Roof, Slow Fall, question mark motivations. Bought hair clip here, made promise. Giraffe Phone, Hikari Kagura equals Reina. Haha. I'm a bother, right, Meiwaku? Okay, thinks that she's a bother frequently. The hallway at 14:15. What was that? Oh, it's just this cut, which again has the sort of foreground to background run. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Hallway 14:15. Doesn't have her heart in it. Star Tiara, Top Star, Stage Girls. Uh huh. You lack motivation. Bakaran, which is great. Okay, and then I had my more notes. The familiar and the unfamiliar, which seem to sort of flip-flop right at the midpoint when we get the wheel becoming the cog. Pretty much everything after that ends up being unfamiliar. The camera work, we had the subtle tracking movements, the strong dynamic stuff for the action sequences, the characters running in and out of depth of field, the sometimes frequent or the sometimes present isolation and crushing of characters on screen makes it feel claustrophobic and funky. Good. Symbols and props and unknown symbols and props. The crown, the stars, stars in particular as like the stars on Hikari's thing, and stars in general as like the symbolic star that they're all reaching toward, and the star that she grasps out of the sky in the very beginning. The tower, Tokyo Tower, that's the biggest mystery for me at the moment. I don't understand what it means, or what it would indicate. Like, obviously, towers can be phallic. I don't think Tokyo Tower is a good phallic symbol. I think that the tower within it, where the tiara is at the top, is an intentional phallic symbol. But Tokyo Tower itself is being warped and played with. It's appearing in locations it cannot be underneath in the foundations, and it's appearing in ways that it cannot, like the broadcasting portion pointed down. Let me actually. Let me do that. Let me look up what the fuck the purpose of Tokyo Tower actually is. Let's do that. Well, communications and observation. Okay. So there were some things that I learned about Tokyo Tower just by investigating it. And I knew some of these, but one of those things that I learned is that Tokyo Tower is obsolete, essentially, for digital broadcasting. When they tried to make the switch from analog to digital broadcasting for the studios or the television stations that use it as a broadcast point, Tokyo Tower itself wasn't tall enough. So, instead they built an entirely new tower, the Tokyo Skytree, which is silver. So Tokyo Tower is obsolete. Kind of. Still used, and it's still a huge landmark for the center of Tokyo. But it's obsolete. Maybe in the same kind of way that you could say stage plays are obsolete in the world of television? Maybe. Maybe there's something to that. I don't really know, though. Okay, let's go through the rest. Tokyo Tower, the giraffe. Don't know why the giraffe is a giraffe. Is a giraffe. I got nothing on that. It's weird, it's strange, it's almost nonsensical and fairy tale-esque, and that's all intentional, obviously. He speaks with a human voice, doesn't move his mouth while talking. It's weird enough that there's no way to read into it. Okay. The goddesses and the names that they have. Fury, escape, arrogance, curse, jealousy, and despair. They're all fucking negative, like really negative, like bad. Goddesses of fury and arrogance? Interesting. Personal flaws, and all of them different. Interesting. Ikuhara-isms. Entering the fantastic via an elevator. Dream worlds and our world overlapping. Nebulous goals. The tiara becoming a star. Nebulous goal. Okay. Second time doing the play, one cog in a grand system. And then I've got lines that I wrote down, like the, and it shall be bestowed upon you, the star which you have longed for. And that's it. That's all I've got. Which is a lot, let's be real. There's a lot in this first episode, and I will not even pretend to say that I actually think that I understood most of it. But I'm definitely interested. I don't spend this much time thinking about a show unless I'm interested in it. I like the characters. I really like the character design, to the point where I do want to look at who's doing the character design. Music's good so far. We got one insert song or battle song of a sort. We'll have to see how those evolve and change over time. Yeah, and overall production was really solid. A lot of those dynamic shots are tough and expensive, so there's effort being put into this, and I appreciate it. Does it have Ikuhara's deft touch? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. But it's starting in very much the same realm. Very much feeling as though it has the same kind of layers to peel back. The same kind of requirement of awareness that you can't passively consume a piece of media like this. You have to actively engage with it. And I appreciate that a lot because I fucking love actively engaging with media. It's literally what I do with all of my time. It's my job. So that's good. Things that are designed to force me to do my job, the best. All in all, my takeaway from Revue Starlight episode 1 is I really like this. This is unique and interesting. It could fall apart like crazy going forward, but we'll have to wait until that happens and withhold judgment until it does so. At present, we've got a weird world with crazy metaphysical shit going on that we don't understand very much yet. It's all centered around a play, and more than that, it's centered around the players within it. It's got weird meta levels going, and I'm excited. That's my take on Revue Starlight episode 1. I'm gonna end there. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Shoujo Kageki Revue Starlight, Episode 1. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If this is your first time watching, if you're watching on the repeat, I hope that you enjoyed watching me fumble and flounder through this first episode, and I hope you had a few hearty chuckles at my expense, because I know that I don't know anything. Beyond that, if you want to catch next week's episode a little bit early, it'll be up on Patreon, so check that out. And yeah, thanks for voting in the polls and stuff. I'll see you next week for more. Oh yeah, please don't spoil me. That's it. Peace.